KaguraFireCosplay, here with my part 2 of my January 2023 reading log. So to start off, we have Heartstopper Volume 1 by Oseman from January 18th to January 19th of 2023. So the story follows, I have read this is a reread, absolutely adore this series with all my heart. So it follows two boys in high school going through emotions, figuring out life, and specifically sexuality. So you start off with learning about Charlie specifically and his past toxic relationship and how that's given him insecurity and how it's bad, so he puts a pause on that, and then he starts incredibly joking and great relationship with his seat desk partner, Nick. Now, eventually you do get similar to Bridgerton, where you see if you do get a sexual assault scene on Charlie, but so that's really interesting, but because you won't see that a lot with male characters, but it's definitely a bad thing, but he gets through it and stands up for himself, which is incredibly important. Now let's just go into presuming stuff about people, specifically types and sexuality and interests and all that stuff. You cannot tell what someone's into or what they like just based on how they look or talk or anything like that. And that's an important message to get out into the world. Now you do see him go from joking to a little bit more flirty. And then you have the characters in this book are incredibly supportive too. You have Charlie's sister Tori, who will do absolutely anything for him, which is super sweet to see. And you do have the iconic Googling scene in this book, which I'm not going to speak more on, so you can see it for yourself. It has, figuring things out, figuring out sexuality and everything like that. And going through, you start to see Nick questioning his friends too, and how his friend group has been toxic in the past. And I don't know. I mean, you get a lot of behind the scenes that I can't spoil, but you do see it has a lot of important messages through everything I've said, and figuring out what's toxic, what's not, and how to handle everything. And it's just really incredible. I recommend this to everyone, absolutely everyone, even if you're not into that type of thing. This is just so important to read. I mean, I feel like this is one of the things that just everyone should read, just to be more educated as a person. So this is cute. It's so wholesome. It's so cute. Like you cannot love it. The next book I read on Kindle, and this is again a reread, The Grey Wolf Throne by Cinda Chima from January 19th to 20th. And again, this is following the same series as the Demon King and Exile Queen. And so you get more development of the characters, you get Crow's Reveal, you get got a lot of wizards coming into this that kind of give me premature vibes, if you know what I mean. Barbie Princess and Pauper premature, yeah. Grazia has a lot of badass scenes too in this that are a lot of fun. You get the reunion of the two. You have miscommunication out of the way. Let's get communication. You also get Almonds and Hans' romance, which is a lot of fun because they've been at odds with each other, so having that is fun. They both, and then Tanya and Razia have to like face reality that they both kind of like to get to each other and having to get through that. And they have a lot of new situations that we haven't seen the characters put in since we have alliances being formed. You have Razia having to take up new roles, so just more continuation of the series and all that stuff. And then the next book I read was Nick and Charlie by Oseman from January 20th to 20th. This is my first time reading it on like Heartstopper. I know. I didn't know what to expect too, because I have more of her novels, but I haven't read any yet, so I've only read her comics. So we start to see so this is set in the future of Heartstopper several years out when Nick is about to go to college, whereas Charlie's still in high school, and going through that. This book was written before Heartstopper. You can definitely tell. My guess is what happens here is not going to be the true ending of Heartstopper. Or if Heartstopper ends before, this isn't what really would happen anymore due to how the story's gone. But still really interesting to read. So we did see Harry from Heartstopper not being homophobic anymore. So that's pretty fun. And unlike with Heartstopper is split into two views, but it's not written in first person because it's a comic book. You do get very distinct Nick point of view, which is just, you don't get as much in the original comics, so it's really nice to be able to read from his perspective. Now just get into, you're not a terrible person for having fears. Everyone is scared of something. That's okay. It's okay. No. It's important, because you have to recognize that to be able to work through that, but you're human, and that's okay. Now we just get into Nick and Charlie as a term being used for their love, such as they're Nick and Charlie, nothing can go wrong, everything's perfect, and they have to kind of work through that too, of we still have problems as well, we're not just the definition of love, like our friends suggest, and so that was kind of interesting getting through too. Charlie has a lot of insecurity in this book too, which is sad to see, but both with his character. But again, I think with the comic of Heartstopper, I feel like he wouldn't have as much anymore. But yeah, and so here's the main thing that I feel like the reason why this book wouldn't exist anymore is the miscommunication. Huge. And that they have incredibly healthy communication in Heartstopper, so it's just kind of sad to read, but it's a thing. I don't know. Alright, but it does end up well. They do get into the fact that anger is a very temporary emotion, whereas something like love and compassion is very everlasting. Anger is temporary, and it's for while you're angry, and then it's it. And then fighting for love. They fight for love, and then. I mean, they love each other. It's life sucks, stuff gets in the way, they have to work it out, fight through it, and they solve each other, so whoa! And at the end of the book, you do have another glossary on British slang, which again is kind of funny, kind of not, kind of important, but yeah, this book does have pictures too that follow suit with the Heartstopper art style, so it's really cute. If you like Heartstopper, definitely recommend reading it. Just keep in mind that this is different from the Heartstopper that we know. So the next book I read was The Crimson Crown by Cinda Chima, which again reread the same series as before, and I read it on Kindle again, so no physical copy. I read it from January 20th to 21. And this is the first book where it starts out with Rosie and Han being together and not separated, so woo! We got the launching point already started. And then Han starts getting a lot of plans in this book that we see follow through that are really interesting. We get a lot of political drama in this, which is kind of fun. I don't know what the hell I wrote. You do get a lot for like Rosie and Han's moments too, which is kind of fun. And you have just I don't know, you get the rest of the story. So if you have followed through the rest of the story, you get the end of it. But the main part is a lot of political drama. That's a lot of spoilers, so I can't speak much on it. But it is really interesting, and you have more development of the characters through that as they're put into these situations. It's really cool to see. So, again, if you like the rest, you'll like this too. So the next book I read is NieR art by Koda Kazuma from January 4th to January 4th. Is the art book for NieR. Now, this is an art book, so I know a lot of people wouldn't count it in something like this, but it does have inclusions on the bottom of considering arts and why it was made and how it was made and stuff like that. But besides that, it is a piece of art and you can analyze any type of art just by talking about it. So I just have a lot of comments about certain pieces of art. So, I mean, the ability that this artist has to make ruined environment, ruined art to something beautiful is so stunning. So having this destructive world with all the plants filling up the space is really gorgeous. And there's a lot of pages that I point out, 14, 16, the paint style of 25, 32 to 33, and then specifically talking about the coloring. And this from NieR 2 is really interesting how they use colors to keep it more muted, to keep certain things lighter. It's just really gorgeous and really artistically inclined. Pages 40, 45, how wire is used and incorporated within 58. Specifically the shapes used too on YouTube, but the way that the shapes are incorporated to bring a new aesthetic. And the amount of sensory that each image has is absolutely insane. Like you can smell, you can hear, you can feel the entire image just from looking at it. And that's crazy talent. Well, not talent, it's crazy skill. I don't believe in talent. It's crazy skill. Then, how something can seem gloomy but have so much pure, raw, positive emotion too is something you see a lot. More pages, 91, 98, 110, then 118. But specifically the angles that a lot of the images have to create room, create space, and draw your eyes certain places is incredibly stunning too, such as on 120. And the strength of how they frame it too. I mean, having certain characters in front just create a really strong stance, especially since this is a series with female protagonists and having that soft versus hard. It's really great. Pages 134, 135. Then how they do luminescence in NieR 2 is gorgeous. It's so pretty. You see that on 144. 148 is gorgeous, and then all the concert images for NieR 2 are stunning. The music's stunning. The concert images are gorgeous. You see that 152, 153. If you like NieR, I highly recommend this. It's so gorgeous. It's really interesting reading about all the small details too. It's gorgeous. Definitely recommend. And the last book I read is Star Wars Heir to the Empire Anniversary Edition by Zahn from January 27th to 30th. And I checked this out from the library, so I do not have it. Now, this book is the sequel to the original trilogy in terms of book form. So they existed before the sequel movies and was the original intention for the sequel movies, which everyone has their opinions about. Mine are not great. That's my opinion. I can get into more detail, but I am yikes. But this is supposed to be really good and the best of the best you can get with Star Wars books. So now I did read the anniversary edition, which has all the author comments on the science, which is really interesting read. It gets into the importance of success this book had for future Star Wars. We wouldn't have any other Star Wars book. We wouldn't have the sequels. We wouldn't have any of it without how successful this book was. Because, I mean, this was before conception of the prequels to begin with. And there's so much that you have to read about this author, having to figure out, like, how much can I go without creating too much new lore versus what's pre-existing. What's pre-existing hasn't been fully thought out. So there's just a lot of trial and error and working with the other Star Wars creatives to make sense. And then now the story does go through a lot of interesting things that we haven't seen from characters to get through. Luke's past trauma, which is a lot. We really thought with the original trilogy, yeah. There would be some trauma that we get into, which is really nice. We see reformed Han, which is fun. Getting through, just doing good work and all that type of thing. You have Carde as the new Jabba the Hutt, which is interesting because Carde is definitely more likable than Jabba, but he's still a not good guy. But it's definitely interesting to see the differences between the two, but the similarities of how they function versus what they wouldn't do, you know? You have Leia with a lightsaber in this book too. That's a lot of fun, but her learning how to do that, she doesn't necessarily want to because it's not her forte, but kind of has to be, you know? Then Han probably has the best characterization out of this book too, comparing it to how Heir support access it. Definitely keeps it the most consistent for sure. You get some Lando in here too, which is a lot of fun. Now there is specific annotation of how based on wrote R2D2's noises and how he wrote a bunch of specific types of noises instead of just beep boop and whatnot. So that's kind of fun to read about how he created those. And then you get a little bit of Chewie's family, but not all of you special Chewie's family, so it's like, okay. Okay. And then, Leia is very independent in this book too, like we always know and have always seen. So it's a lot of fun to read about that too. So it's definitely, I'm not a huge sci-fi person, so it's definitely, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as other people did. But if you like Star Wars and you don't like the sequels, read these books. It's a lot better. And that was the last book I read in January. So tell me what you think about these books, what you should read next, and see you then.